Tonight, the most powerful Democrat in Congress is now calling for the Republican investigating alleged spying by the Obama administration to be removed from his post. As we learn some new information tonight suggesting how the Obama White House may have been keeping tabs on then-President-elect Donald Trump and his advisors. I'm Martha McCallum. It's day 67, everybody, of the first 100. So the Republican chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, saying that he visited the White House grounds to see his source to look at these documents. He did that one day before he came back and made that now sort of famous appearance outside the White House after he had shared what he knew with President Trump, showing members of Trump's transition team had been inappropriately unmasked in Obama-era surveillance operations. And tonight, Chairman Nunes goes even further, detailing how he viewed those reports on a secretive trip to the White House compound, where he met with an intelligence official who had access to a secure computer network who showed these things to him. It was in the executive branch documents that were the focus of that viewing. So these new revelations are setting off Democrat House Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who has now demanded that Chairman Nunes be removed from this pending investigation.
Chairman Nunes is falling down on the job and seems to be more interested in protecting the president than in seeking the truth. Without further ado, Speaker Ryan should replace Chairman Nunes.
So here now, one of Chairman Nunes' Republican committee colleagues, Congressman Trey Gowdy, who is also former chairman of the Special Select Committee on Benghazi and a former federal prosecutor. Good to have you here tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
What do you make of the charge or the call to step down to Chairman Nunes by Chuck Schumer?
I just love it when Senator Schumer gives Republicans advice on what we ought to do. Devin is doing exactly what the chairman Hipsey ought to do. When you have a source that has information, you handle that information safely, securely, which is exactly what he did. I wish Senator Schumer and some of the other Democrats would be more interested in the authenticity and the reliability of the underlying data and not the means by which it was acquired. Whether it's the White House or Waffle House, what difference does it make if the information is reliable and authentic? It just so happens Devin had to do it this way. So we're not going to take advice from Senator Schumer on who our chair people ought to be.
All right. So, everybody obviously has been wondering who the source is on this. Who called him? There's a story about how he received a text in his car. He was with other staffers. Just got out of the car quickly, left, went over to the White House, we now know, viewed those documents, and then the next day goes back to show them to the president. So that sort of lines up to appear that the person who revealed all this to him is either in the White House or was associated with the White House. Now, the narrative on that has changed a bit in the past two press briefings. Let's watch.
Will you rule out that the White House or anyone in the Trump administration gave Chairman Nunes that information?
I'm not aware of it, but it doesn't really pass the smell test.
It appears there was some degree of cooperation in this process that the White House granted Chairman Nunes.
I will be glad to take a look at that and figure out whether or not that is an accurate statement or not.
All right, so the door's open now to the possibility that it came from the White House. Does that matter? Why?
Devin hasn't told us it came from the White House. I don't think the source matters, Martha, nearly as much as whether or not the underlying information is authentic and credible. Keep in mind, Devin has also said this has nothing to do with Russia. And for those who missed it the first time he said it again, nothing to do with Russia. So if we've gotten to the point where the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee cannot go gather information related to our surveillance programs and cannot update the commander-in-chief on the nature of that information, we're in a really strange place. I realize that Democrats don't like the fact that President Trump won, but he did. And Devin is the chairperson of the Intelligence Committee. He has an obligation to update the commander-in-chief on information like this.
So there was supposed to be a hearing to move this ball a little bit further. That open hearing was canceled, and now the closed hearing is also in question, where you all would like to question again the FBI Director Comey and the head of the NSA as well. Where does that stand? Are you going to have that hearing?
I hope we have it at some point. I hope it's behind closed doors or confidentially, like every other serious investigation is run. Almost 100 times Director Comey and Admiral Rogers said they could not answer the question in that setting, almost 100 times. So if you really are on a quest for the truth, a quest for facts, why you would pick a forum which guarantees the witnesses cannot answer the question befuddles me. So I would love to bring them back. We have to bring them back. They are foundational, seminal witnesses. But almost 100 times they said they couldn't answer in a public setting.
Gotcha.
So I don't know why we'd go back that way.
All right, quickly. Mr. Kushner, Jared Kushner, is going to answer questions about his meeting with a Russian banker whose bank was under sanctions at the time. What are your questions? What would you want to know about that relationship?
Well, that's going to be a Senate investigation. The Senate, he's going to give testimony before the Senate. Martha, I'm easy. I want to know every fact that there is to know relevant to our jurisdiction. So anything dealing with Russia, anything dealing with the felonious dissemination of classified material, access the witnesses, access the documents, and ask all of the questions in a credible, serious way, which means do our investigation the way every other serious investigation in the country is done, which is behind closed doors until you have something to report.
Chairman Gowdy, good to see you today. Thank you very much for being here today.